Part 4. Welcome to part 4. Been a long day, right?
Yes.
She's not happy we went to part 4, but nonetheless, we are here.
No, I'm not unhappy. We do got to prove this point about the GOAT.
All right, so I have never said this 3 times in one show, but this is the
If you didn't see this show, go back to part 1. If you saw part 1, there's a part 2. If you saw that one, there's a part 3. Now we're at part 4.
What is that all about? So you do it.
I already did it.
All right, well, you got it. Here you go.
No, go ahead. I can't read your handwriting.
Oh, see, that's an excuse.
No, I really can't read his handwriting.
All righty then. Sorry, just playing. All right, part 4. Here we go. So we just finished all the viewer comments. All of them are done.
Yes.
Well, hasta mañana, no, see you tomorrow. What's that? All of them are done.
Todos se han terminado. Hicimos parte 1, parte 2, parte 3. Viewer comments. Jeez, my God, I haven't practiced my Spanish.
We're done with viewer comments.
Oh my God.
Great.
I can't believe it. I gotta start practicing Spanish. Anybody out there know Spanish? So I can start writing back and forth with?
That was the best viewer comment run we've ever had. If it gets more than that,
I mean, they show a lot of passion. A lot of the viewers show why they're true Novak fans, and that they're not just talking out of their butts, but they actually know what they're talking about.
Man, impressive. Yeah. Impressive.
I mean, for AJ to write that long essay, step by step, I mean, it's like you could almost feel his pain. Probably Novak's pain, why he's had to prove himself so much. But didn't you feel like Novak's kind of been like thrown in the corner and he's had to dig his way out?
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Absolutely, totally agree.
Yeah.
So viewer comments are done. You guys, all you out there, thank you so much. Today was a really good day. I guess having read a couple of hundred comments and trying to read them off to this point of the day, due to the 5 kids, it's been tiresome. But nonetheless, it's really been quite intellectual and very informative in a lot of different ways. And again, this is what we do. We love the game, and more so, we like doing this as well. So really, thanks again for all the comments. Keep them coming. And if they grow beyond the ability to make this any shorter, because I know everybody doesn't have time to sit around for an hour and a half every day or 2. But if it's too long, give us some suggestions of how we can pick and choose better. I don't want to not read someone's comment and then read someone else's. You know what I mean? So I just try to be fair and equal. And if there's any way you can assist us if it's too long, please let us know. All right?
Well, sometimes sports shows are 2-3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, our local, I think that, I don't want to mention someone's radio show, but there's a nice show and does a good job. I think it's the Dan Patrick Show. That has no relevance. I just said that because it's a show. Whatever. Really, one of the reasons why we wanted to do this is for shows like that are 4 and 5 hours long, 5 days a week, and
sometimes they repeat the same thing over and over.
And it's the same thing over and over again for 4 hours. So we're just venturing down the road of tennis talk and enjoying it along the way. Mm-hmm. All right. So I want to finish the topic, and I'm really going to try to burn through this part 4. And someone sent a message to me earlier on a personal level. It was like, you're going to go 4 tonight. I know it. You are right. You are right. So good thought there. I should have listened to you. So here's my personal mind. She doesn't even have this written in, but on Grand Slams and majors being the key indicator of a potential best of all time. So the mainstream perspective of the typical naive tennis fan, whether you go back in history or whether you go or fast forward in history and look back to now. In other words, if 50 years from now, when my children are raising their children and their children are like, I really like tennis, who was the best in your time? When they go to their futuristic Google search and look back in time and who the greatest player was, it's gonna quantify that by the number of majors. I didn't choose it. I don't know who exactly chose that, but that's just the way it is. Let's look at the best football player of all time. It's who won the most Super Bowls. Let's look at the boxer of all time. It's who never lost. Let's look at basketball. It's Jordan. He's got the most titles, no matter what any basketball player, whether it's LeBron James or anybody else, no matter what happens, no
the
matter
best team, the best
it doesn't matter.
baseball team.
That's how it's judged. So we have to remember that the fundamental variable in the greatest of all time, going back ages and ages. I mean, look, we say the greatest of all time is Margaret Court with 24 majors, and Serena's trying to get there. Well, so we can't forget the variable in which time and the paradigm is set upon. Not everyone is tennis fans like we are. So we are all in here. We can talk tennis until we can't sleep anymore, or we can't stay awake anymore. And we do it every day. All of us do. I know we do. I can tell by your comments. You do, just as we do. At the same time, most people don't. And when they wake up in the morning, they talk tennis. Never. And then maybe when they go to the club to play their league match, they talk it for 20 minutes outside of there, talking about their new outfit. And then they don't talk it again for the next week. So in other words, they never talk tennis. So they hear about this thing and that, but they're not sitting at the club talking about statistics and who won more 1000s and what the record was in 2011 or 2015. In all reality, from an objective standpoint, we're talking about who won the most majors. Am I right or wrong? Can you really disagree with that? I mean, I don't care who. I'm a Djokovic fan. I'm a Nadal fan. I'm a Federer fan. I don't bias one over the other. I happen to like Federer's game better than the other two because, again, I hit a one-handed backhand. She hits a two. And I just prefer the one-handed backhand. Doesn't mean I like one over the other. I just prefer Federer's game. And I think we get lost in that, at least for me. If Djokovic is in the final and plays a good match and Federer's in the, may the best man win. And that's what I've always tried to say.
Unless it's Murray.
Yeah, I've never been a Murray fan anyway. So what I guess what I'm trying to say is, unless you're someone like us that and I'm not trying to ostracize or upper echelon ourselves saying us and them. I'm just saying if you're a tennis fan that wakes up and you think about it, you go to sleep, you think about it, you think about it in the shower, you think about it, you pick up your kids from school, you think about it, you go out and teach it, you come home, you think about it some more. That's what we do. That's what you do. But most people don't do that. And unfortunately, the masses represent that portion. And the masses, when they're looking back 50 years in the future, back to now, and they want to know who the greatest is, they're going to find out who won the most majors, and that's going to be the greatest. And I don't think that's really open for debate.
Well, even kids, even my kids, when they say, well, who's the greatest of all? Well, they say, well, it's whoever's won the most, right? Grand Slams.
Yeah.
That's what they ask.
Look, it's very debatable, and it always is. And I'm not trying to be a bad guy here. I believe me, I would love to see Djokovic with 21, or however. I personally don't think Federer will win another major. I hope he does. I think Nadal will win 3 or 4 more French, so he better win one, or Nadal will pass him. But I think if Djokovic runs off another 2011 and 2015, given he's only 31, that's 6 more majors. He can be right there in the thick of things. But anyway,
tougher said than done, Justin.
It's much tougher said than done.
At 31, with Tsitsipas, what I've seen from Tsitsipas.
Easier said than done, right?
Easier said than done. Tsitsipas coming, those people that are 20, 21 in 2-3 years, they're going to be men. They're going to be built like men. And he's going to be older. And with his sliding and the ankle and all that, much tougher to do than what he did in the past.
So that's my take on what everyone else looks at. Now let's pretend that we removed all the majors out of all the records. Okay, let's get the big 3 and let's remove the majors out. Let's get rid of the 20. Let's get rid of the 17. Let's get rid of the 14, 13. Let's get rid of them. That would put Djokovic number 1, hands down, no problem. That would put Nadal number 2. I have a problem with that because Federer is a better player than Nadal. Nadal just owned him for decades on clay and a few other surfaces, but nonetheless, Federer has a better game. He just does.
He has a better game.
So if you took the majors away, that would open up a Pandora's box, because then we'd have to go back in time and look at who competed in the worlds of the McEnroes and so forth, and the Lavers and so forth, and find out who back then never won a major but did really well during other comparable tournaments. So it's a really messed up sandwich per se. We would call that an old SHI sandwich in my neck of the woods, but. It's really quite a debatable topic, but at the same time, it's majors that people look at least those that don't follow it so intensely.
I'm sorry, as a tennis player, for me, my dream as a kid, I didn't think of it, oh my God, I want to win these Masters, or for women, the big WTA tournaments. I looked at it as, I want to win the Grand Slams. That's what counts. There's some tennis players that don't even play some of these master tournaments. They don't play all these other tournaments. They're not trying to break records. They're not interested in breaking records. Some of them retire young. Example, Borg retire very young. Henin retire young. I mean, there's tournaments that Federer's not even playing just to save his body. Nadal as well. So I don't think that these should count toward the GOAT, being a GOAT. Grand Slams is what should count. Those are it's a draw of 128 people. 2-week tournament, not a 1-week tournament. I said it before.
And instead of 6 or 50 something, it's 128.
It's 128.
Yeah.
That's a test.
Look, we're gonna squash that because it's reciprocal. It just keeps rolling around.
Well, look at this. LeBron.
You can't.
LeBron, in my opinion, is better than Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan holds a record. Therefore, he's the GOAT of basketball, and I prefer LeBron, and I think he's the better player.
I repeat, from my standpoint, from an objective standpoint, and that's kind of what I feel my job is, to make sure I stay even, Steven, is, believe me, I could care less if there's two of the three playing one another. I would love to just see a great match and let the best man win.
Mm-hmm.
But forget that. Say I never existed. My existence was null and void. And I popped up in some different realm, universe, and all of a sudden, boing, I'm turned on to tennis, and I want to go back from year 2,400,000 AD, and I want to go back to now, and I want to find out who the best tennis player was. I'm going to say who won the most majors in AD 2018.
Right, you're not going to look who won the most titles.
I'm not going to say what was the statistics.
You just won't, and that's reality.
Just the reality. It's the sometimes
same goes for music. If you look at an artist who's gotten the most billboards, or actor who's gotten the most Oscars, and that's what you look at.
Anyway, it's just how the majority of people see it. Do I disagree with anyone? No, I agree with you. He's better than both on all fronts.
Yes,
he's beat them both head to head. So therefore, he is the greatest. It's not arguable.
He'll be a legend.
But all we are saying is that fast forward, kids are born that weren't alive when they were alive. They're looking back in history. They're going to look at majors. They're not going to dig this far into it. Now, if they're really intense tennis fans, they might get there that far in the future, but they're probably going to be doing the same intensity with their players then, and not back now.
Yeah, and not until Djokovic can pass whatever number it's going to be, then we have to wait to see who's going to be the GOAT of tennis.
All right, so before the end of the show, we're getting very close. Stimpy Boy, what's up, Stimpy? Stimpy Boy asked Carla and I to list our projected top 10 players on the ATP and WTA, men's and women's, as the year would finish. So I jotted down real quickly. She did the same. Within 5 minutes, we wrote down 10 players. Was it 10 or 5?
10.
So 10 players.
You said 5 and then change the
So I'm going to roll my 10 players off men and women's, and she's going to roll her 10 players off men and women's real quickly. And this one's for Stimpy Boy because he asked for it. All right. Here's my 10 men. Federer, Djokovic, Nadal, Delpo, Cilic, Anderson, Zverev, Dimitrov, Tsitsipas, and Thiem. Okay. Women: Kerber, Halep, Kvitova, Wozniacki, Pliskova, the higher seeded sister, Garcia, Stevens, Keys, Svitolina, and Bertens. Okay. I almost didn't want to pick Sloane Stevens because she has a lot of the points to defend because she won it last year, right? And so in other words, she needs to get there to the final, or she's going to lose a lot. She might drop out of the top 10, in my opinion, if she doesn't do big things. If Sloane Stevens loses in the first, I'm going to eat my words there. If Pliskova doesn't do something, I'm going to eat my words there. Everyone else I'm pretty confident with. If Svitolina at 9 bails early, might be some trouble there too, but I'm pretty confident. Less Sloane Stevens. I think if Sloane Stevens doesn't make a final, I'm going to miss one.
Well, mine for the men is Federer, Djokovic, Nadal, Anderson, Cilic, Tsitsipas, Zverev, Delpo, Isner, and Goffin. And women is Wozniacki, Kerber, Halep, Stevens, Kvitova, Serena, Garcia, Bertens, Sedovina, and Sabalenka.
I like the Sabalenka in there. I really do like the Sabalenka in there.
Oh, and while I have this in my thought, I didn't forget what AJ said about Steffi Graf being the GOAT. I love Steffi Graf. She's my favorite tennis player.
Me too.
Unfortunately, we can't say she's the GOAT, and I would love to say she's the GOAT because Serena passed her. So there's another point right there.
Graf? I love Graf.
There's another point right there. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
That's a great point.
And I would think, to me, Steffi Graf is the best, but she's not the GOAT of tennis.
Okay. One last parting question, and this is going to be food for thought. I don't want to dwell off into it. I haven't thought about it enough. Someone brought up a comment earlier about Federer and his grandeur-ness. and there was a mention of the Laver Cup and its inception. Okay, I'm not going to get into this now. Do you think? Does anyone think? And maybe I'm going to tell you how I think. And believe me, I'm a peon on the global scale. I mean, who cares what I think, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, who cares what I think? I want to tell you what I think about the Laver Cup thing, and the next gen stuff. For me, it's nothing more than a glorified exhibition. I mean, I think I'm not hating on something at all. I just think they should maybe have two separate things. Tennis tour of intense where people try, and then tennis tour where it's exhibitions, people with microphones in their mouth, and guys hugging and going, whoa, on the sideline.
It's so stupid. I don't even watch it.
It's different for me. And maybe it's because I'm 40, and maybe it's because I played the game since I was 2, and maybe since I was racing the game, it was always very serious from my family's perspective coaching me. It wasn't go out on the court and play games. It was go out on the court and train. And then maybe that's wrong, but I mean, I felt like it was good for me. I didn't go out to the court and go, oh, otherwise I would have been like, what are you, my father would have been like, what are you doing?
Right.
What? Come on. That's what, and I'm not kidding. Her father, worse. Mm-hmm. So all I'm trying to get at is I have zero interest of seeing next gen boys that need to figure out if they're going to beat anybody. And until then, go back to the past gen. I don't care. The Laver Cup, man, you're talking about, how did they team it up? It was like Federer,
Europe versus
Nadal,
the world
against Ryan Harrison and
Europe versus the world. It's so unfair.
What is that?
It's so unfair.
I mean, they
might as well call Serena and say, "Can you play for the world?"
Man,
Venus, can you play for the world?
So look, I'm just gonna put this in perspective. I turn on the Laver Cup and attempt to watch it. And I'm watching
Kyrgios go
the business suits and Kyrgios walking around like he's a gangster, which is so pathetic. It's incredibly stupid. Knowing he probably comes from big pockets and nowhere even close to hard times. Let's say that when you're watching like the young kids, like, oh, did you see that? What? Who needs it? Get on with that. And maybe I'm wrong, but I'm speaking my mind on it. As an athlete, as a tennis player, I think that's nothing more than propaganda and marketing. I think it serves zero interest whatsoever to the future of the game. First of all, the next gen thing. You're saying it's cool to be a young kid and not beating the best? Did Becker say that? Did Boris Becker say that?
Becker was 17.
Did Michael Chang say that?
Yeah, he was 17 as well when he won his
Pete Sampras say that?
He was 19.
Nadal say that?
17.
No, what are we talking about?
No.
Come on, man. Setting up a world of pansies. Get it done. Or just don't. Next gen. Get out of here. Stupid. And then the Laver Cup? Come on, man.
That's just more for fans to shell out more money.
Oh my gosh, Federer and Nadal are going to go play doubles together. Oh my God, come on, girlfriend. Let's go down and get some beers and chicken sandwiches down at the local Hyatt. They might be playing in Chicago. What? Anyway, glorified expedition. I think it's a great thing, but it seems like we're getting more watered down with the game. Let's fight a little harder. You know what I mean?
Yes, okay.
Anyway, feedback on the Laver Cup. I'm not disrespecting. I didn't mean for that to happen. I apologize if I took it.
Don't apologize for that, because it's BS.
It to me, I would rather go watch an exhibition that involves something for a cause, and maybe this is for a cause, and I just haven't seen it that way. But I don't see any implications for who's the best player in the world and who I want to predict my kids to watch by judging them at the Laver Cup, and nor would I want my kids to try to emulate anybody at the next gen. I think I want to find the young men and women that are in the top of the game, and just have them try to slug it out. And if not, then it wasn't meant to be.
Right.
To be or not to be, that is the question, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be or not to be. Not next gen to be. All right. Whew. Part 4 is over. This wraps up the show for today. Let's go. Again, this may not be our best. 5 o'clock, she was up. Me not long after. 2 bandage changes today.
I was up at 3 actually.
3 in the morning. The porch to in here. My dad came over to school the kids on some interview questions for something different. Dinner, shower, and then back to part 4. First time ever. Anyway, thanks so much for putting up with us through this. And if it's the worst thing you've ever seen in our past 69 shows,
blame it on him.
blame it on me, because
I'm just kidding.
I've really tried to keep my sanity, and I knew this was going to be long, but I promise we're going to try to figure out a way to shorten it. We're going to try. Openly.
Hi. Okay.
Accepting
I don't wanna, yeah.
ideas.
Good job, Lasiki.
Yeah. Anyway, click a like below, subscribe below, share the video.
Instagram 5K Tennis, Twitter 5K Tennis, 5K Tennis at mail.com, or Facebook Justin space Carla space Davis or 5K Tennis.
All right. I'm out.
Adios.
Good job, man.
Okay.
Good job, Malfoy. Good job, Kane. See ya.